Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack. So surprisingly, the talk of the town is not the question being asked of when Overwatch 2 is coming out or how much it's going to be. And thank God, because I'm so tired of people asking me, oh, when is Overwatch 2 coming out? I don't know. All right, stop asking. But in fact, everybody is talking about Overwatch 2 going to 5v5. If you guys don't know, in the recent Overwatch 2 livestream held yesterday, that was the big announcement. They led off the livestream by talking about how Overwatch 2 is going to be going on the structure of 2 DPS, 2 support heroes, and 1 tank. Now, people can have a lot of things to say about 5v5, and in my personal opinion, I don't mind this change. Mainly because I don't have enough friends to make a 5-stack. I don't even have a friend. But all jokes aside though, before I even begin speaking another sentence, besides, well, this one, I do want it to be known that everything that they showcased in yesterday's Overwatch 2 multiplayer livestream, Blizzard did state that it's not set in stone, that they are still working on the things that they want to bring in Overwatch 2, but the way that I look at it and the way that everybody is interpreting it is that if they are showcasing it in a livestream like that, that more than likely they're at least on the fence of making it a permanent mainstay in Overwatch 2. But this is where you guys get to come into play, the viewer, because it's in moments like these, on videos like this, and on tweets like this, where you get to give feedback to Blizzard, and if Blizzard does listen, which it kind of seems like they are based on the track record of what we complain about on what seems to be on a weekly basis, then they'll take your feedback and make changes for Overwatch 2. So comment down below if you don't like the idea of 5v5 or if you do like the idea of 5v5. But also give reasons as to why. Because as of right now, there seems to be 2 popular opinions when it comes to 5v5, both being negative. The first reason why people don't like 5v5 is because they put a lot of Overwatch League tank players out of a job. And while I have been a supporter of the idea of 5v5, that was the main reason why I also didn't like the idea of 5v5, because I would hate to be an Overwatch League player, putting in years into this video game, practicing, putting in effort, putting my blood, sweat, and tears into this role, just for Blizzard say, JK, yeah, you're gone. You're out of here, kid. But the second negative opinion when it comes to the 5v5 format is that it almost makes main tanks a must pick in every single game, meaning that off tanks aren't really all that needed. That be it Zarya, Roadhog, and D.Va. And Hammond, how can I forget my favorite hamster boy? And this is where the drama and the controversy comes into play of 5v5. Because when it comes to the Overwatch League tank players, that's not drama. That just flat out sucks. All right, there's no argument. Nobody supports the idea of them losing their job. But when it comes to 5v5 and off tanks possibly being useless, well, this is where it kind of like an overreaction might come into play. Y'all have to remember that Blizzard is going to be reworking every single tank to fit the role of a solo tank. That includes all the off tanks, and that also includes all of the main tanks, making them less defensive and maybe more aggro, and making all the aggro tanks maybe a little bit more defensive. Just take Zarya for an example. She gets 2 extra bubbles, meaning that, well, it's not going to be replacing any sort of shield. Yeah, you have a little bit more of a defense, and Reinhardt, he got a nerf to his shield where he has a little less hit points, 1200 to be exact, meaning that he's not going to be so much of a defensive tank, but a little bit more aggro so that he can fulfill the role of what an off tank would have fulfilled. And that's just looking at it logically and looking at the facts of what some people seem to forget. But this is where possibly my hot take comes into play, because I have never seen the Overwatch community unanimously attack this idea and say it's the worst idea that could ever come into Overwatch, because it's just here's the way that I view it. People hated the idea of goats, people hate the idea of roll queue, and people hate the idea of queuing up for tanks. But then all of a sudden people are defending the idea of having 2 tanks. All of a sudden people are calling this one of the worst changes that Blizzard has ever proposed to us. It just kind of confuses me. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong if you hate the idea of 5v5, but we all can agree that tank is the least popular pick category of heroes, but then all of a sudden everyone becomes a tank player and supports the idea of 2 tanks? Maybe more people would have a desire to queue up for tank if it would have as many heroes as DPS does, because yeah, the DPS roster triples the amount of tank heroes to choose from. Same thing for support. But at least in the case of why there's a lot of DPS heroes to choose from, remember that originally there was the defensive category of heroes because, well, you defend points. You were kind of hinted at the idea of choosing those defense heroes, but nobody played them defensively. quickly, so that's why they just merged the defense and offense heroes, and why there's an overwhelming amount of offense heroes in the modern day of Overwatch. But the point still stands that, yeah, maybe people don't queue up for tank rather than DPS because you have a more likely chance to fall in love with a hero in the DPS category than you do for the tank category. So I'm trying to look at it from everybody's perspective that hates the idea of 5v5. But then I want to try to give my perspective because it seems like this is a hot take. But I like the idea of 5v5. And go figure, I'm a DPS player. Why wouldn't I like the idea of 5v5? Because the way that I look at it, one less tank, that means double shield isn't going to be a thing. That means there's a more likely chance of an off tank being picked. That means I'm going to be able to actually shoot things rather than a shield. I think Blizzard looked at the reactions of double shield. I think Blizzard looked at the reactions of DPS players being annoyed that they couldn't shoot things rather than it just being a shield shooting simulator. And I think they also looked at the queue times for tanks and kind of put 2 and 2 and 2 together. That's kind of funny because it's role queue and it's being 5v5. They came to the conclusion that people just didn't like to play tanks. All right, and I think they thought that this was a good idea because, oh, well, this will satisfy DPS players and we're not getting rid of the tank category of heroes, and that means that the queue times will be fixed. And it just seems like people don't like it. And if that's the case, then how would you fix it? Because for the longest time, people yell at Blizzard to fix their game. Fix goats, fix role queue, fix double shield, fix the main meta, fix this, fix that. And when they actually try to make a drastic change to fix it, people hate the idea. Like, what do? Just nerf a bunch of heroes so that tanks are a little less effective, but that there can still be 2 tank players and DPS can still shoot things? Well, then tank players feel like they're getting cheated. So then they add role queue so that you can't play goats or that you're only limited to 2 tanks. And then people hate the idea of role queue either because of the queue times or for whatever reason they come up with. So really, the way that I look at it is that no matter what Blizzard does, it almost seems like they can never win because one group of people are gonna suffer, either tank players or DPS players. It almost seems like support players always win in controversial situations like this. Like, yeah, we might not have the most support heroes to choose from, but at least our role isn't getting impacted, and at least we're not suffering when it comes to double shield or DPS having to get babied some more. But if I'm gonna be real, I think that's the #1 reason why Blizzard is wanting to have 5v5 as a permanent stay in Overwatch 2 is to cater to the DPS audience. And everybody, just take a step back and ask yourself, well, why wouldn't they? You know, just logically thinking, Blizzard is a business. They're wanting to make the best game possible. They're wanting to cater to the majority. And, well, we all can see it in the queue times. The majority is in the DPS category of heroes. And if all the hit scans, the snipers, and shoot, even the projectile heroes say that they don't want to shoot shields, why wouldn't they remove one of the least popular category of heroes to cater to them? And that's why my initial reaction wasn't so negative of 5v5. So I don't think you can really blame me, but I also can't blame other tank players for getting frustrated because that's your role, and we're also just so used to 6v6. But when it comes to 5v5, also just watching the gameplay is a lot easier. It just seems a little bit more of an opportunity for everybody to pop off and less likely to have to rely on a massive ult team fight. It seems like the DPS can actually have their solo dolo moments where they can pop off and win the fight by themselves without even needing to use their ultimate because there's not a shield blocking them or a bunch of takes absorbing the damage and the healers being able to get to their ultimate a lot faster. You know, if I'm allowed to have an initial reaction, mine was, hey, this actually doesn't seem all that bad. But I also didn't get to play 5v5 along with everybody else that got to watch the live stream. And if I know anything about the Overwatch community, they tend to overreact to big changes. They overreacted to role queue, which, I mean, even then, they overreacted in a positive way, and now it seems like everybody hates role queue. So I don't understand the Overwatch community, but if I know anything is that when a majority of the Overwatch community hates the idea of 5v5, in my personal opinion, I feel like Blizzard would take that feedback and maybe not make it a permanent stay in Overwatch 2. I mean, hey, they're removing Mei's freeze, which a majority of players hate getting frozen by, your boy included, and they removed a popular ability from Mei. Do I like that change? No, but if it's for the greater good of the Overwatch community and if the majority of people like it, then yeah, go ahead and remove it if it makes a better game. But will 5v5 make Overwatch 2 a much more enjoyable experience to not only play but also watch? Well, from the reaction of the Overwatch community, no, they don't think it will be. But if I can have an opinion, I think it will. But it's so weird to be on the minority side of things, thinking that 5v5 will make it a better game. Here I thought DPS players wanted to pop off. Here I thought support players wanted to spend less time focused on their tank and just pouring in heals. And here I thought all 5 tank players would be okay with, well, them having a more impactful role on the battlefield. But it seems like I'm wrong, and it seems like Blizzard is wrong. So it's up to Blizzard to decide if they know their game better than their audience. But if I can take away one thing from my business degree, it is you have to satisfy the customers. Because even if you think that 5v5 is the best addition for Overwatch 2, if we play Overwatch 2 and we hate 5v5 and we've been begging and pleading for 5v5 to not be a permanent mainstay in Overwatch 2, then they have to listen to their customers, because if they don't listen to us, then we're not going to support Overwatch 2. That means everybody at Blizzard is going to be out of a job, just like a bunch of tank players in the Overwatch League. I still feel so bad for that, man. But again, let me know about your opinion of 5v5 and if you think it should be a permanent mainstay in Overwatch 2 multiplayer, and I will see you guys later. So I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching more Overwatch and Overwatch videos. 2 videos to come, and bye.